I like watching people lose their mind over ridiculous stuff. Nothing is more evident than what is going on with the Doge. There is a reason they chose what they chose. U.S. aid. There's a reason for that. The reason? Simple. Nobody cares about it. Truly, it's nothing. If we left it or didn't leave it, it didn't matter. Because it's less than like 1/10 of 1% of our budget. But you got to have a test case. I always equate this to, I've had just about every animal in the world you have. And I used to be really big into saltwater tanks. So when you have saltwater tanks, you get the tank, you've got to make sure everything's correct, right? The balance with the salt and the whole 9 yards. You're always testing it, making sure. Then you get a tester fish. I'm not spending $300 on a fish. I'm spending $2.99. If the $2.99 fish can survive, the $2.99 fish will be eaten by whatever I want to put in there, but I got to make sure it survives. And that's what this is, a tester fish, just like YouTube did with flat earthers. Let's see what we can get away with. And it's the same thing here. These people don't care about U.S. aid. They don't. Hell, I saw Colbert last night bring on somebody from U.S. aid. Think about that for a second. Their insanity. They're like, it used to be, people want to be Johnny Carson. Oh, man, I want to be Johnny Carson, right? I want to be Johnny Carson. I want to host the Tonight Show. I want to do that. I want to be David Letterman. I want to have, tonight we're going to have on such and such, comedian, this, that, and the other. Colbert is like, tonight we're going to have on somebody from U.S. aid. Ooh, let me get my picture. Ooh, please. It's insane. You people have lost your mind, and that's what they wanted. Exactly. Thank you very much, Kyle. Shenanigans. He gets it. It's a test. What can they get away with? What can they push? How are people going to react? And you're testing there because you're also looking at this and saying to yourself, if we go and take money away that may have some benefits for some people, that's going to be tough to pitch. But if we take $50 billion away from Mozambique and their healthcare needs, from Colombia and the transgender opera, from the Peruvian we can go on and on, from the juggling ducks in Ecuador to whatever it is that they've got. Most people say, I don't care about that. That's stupid. It's ridiculous. You've got to fight. If you're a Democrat, you have to fight the right fight, and you haven't found the right fight. And instead, you scream, you yell, you whine, because that's what you've become. All of those things, screaming, yelling, whining, with zero purpose.
Elon Musk is a Nazi nutball baby, a godless, lawless billionaire. Musk has grabbed control of America's payment system. This is the system that makes sure that your grandpa gets his Social Security check on time.
Take away our dollars, take away everything we have. We are going to fight this fight. I am going to stand with you in this fight.
We are not going to sit around while you go ahead and desecrate our Constitution.
And now he has the ability to shut off your Social Security, Medicare, any payments he wants with the flip of a switch.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your asses. And we are going to make sure you understand what democracy looks like.
Elon Musk is seizing power from the American people. We are at war. We will not take this. We will fight back.
Fight back.
We're going to fight back. Really? And if you actually, not a lot of people look into any of this U.S. aid stuff. Let's just talk about some of the stuff for real. I mean, you guys heard about that. Oh, you know, that stuff is all for show. CIA loves this program because they can run soft power and some coups through it. And they've done that in the past. Even one of the people the other day, not yesterday, the day before, going, they can't do this. It's awful. It's horrible. And then he says another part out loud that you're not supposed to. We've used this to fund, are you ready? Freedom fighters. Excuse me? I thought we were here to help kids fight malaria and people who have AIDS. Oh, What kind of freedom fighters are we finding? Just asking. We used that fund many, many moons ago because John F. Kennedy said, Cold War's going on. Let's have a utopian vision to show everybody how wonderful we are. We will help them in a time of need. We'll get in front of it, and they'll say, oh, wow, this altruistic group of people over here, these Americans, they've got this capitalism stuff, and it was a great way to stop the spread of communism. Over the last umpteen years, much of what Congress is and what politics has become is a way to funnel money from one area to another. We're going to play some Tim Burchett later, but he was on News Nation talking about, was it the neutrina? Is that what I said it was? Neutrina? Nutria, that rat thing. It's like rat beaver. I think it's a good way to describe it.
It's like a big rodent.
I think they're from Central America or South America. I think it's the Spanish version of a woodchuck.
Or a Spanish version of a beaver without the tail.
Yeah, something like that. So he was on earlier and just on News Nation, dadgumming it. And one of the things that, he said, he goes, look, our people are lazy. And, some boyfriend, some girlfriend, some husband, some wife, they're in the nutria killing business. And they just got another $60 million for 5 years. Government, when you see them out there, they're not out there fighting for the people. They're fighting for government, which is scary. Speaking of scary, I called it long ago. I said, at some point in time, Trump's going to go, man, we got to fix this over here in the Middle East. And he's going to look around and he's going to say, wow, God, this is a tough, look at all this horrible, all these bad, look at this, there's nothing here. And then he's going to look up and go, wow, that's the ocean. It's right there. The sand looks good. That's a good looking sand right there. That's good. It's a good, I feel bad for you guys. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, we want to help you out. What's the weather like here, all you? I'm just asking.
Sorry about that pier that we built and
that was
screwed
the
up.
other guy. That was the other guy. But speaking of piers, you know what we'd like to do? We'd like to get one of those big balloon rafts. And now I'm just talking off the head here. And they're just looking at him like, what? Because he comes out yesterday and says, this is a great looking place. We might be able to do something with this place. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about? You want to do what? You want to wait, what?
Of this almost 2 million people in Gaza, they're likely not to go willingly. So they will have to be expelled by force, which would require military force. Pushing them into a country, two countries would have already completely said that is not going to be allowed.
Yeah, because it's not. They don't want them. They haven't wanted them forever because they've had them before. Egypt put up a giant wall for a reason, and Jordan let them in, and they tried to overthrow the king. They don't want them. But Trump's looking around going, oh, yeah, they're going to totally take them. It's going to be fine.
I have a feeling that the king in Jordan and that the general president, but that the general in Egypt will open their hearts and will give us the kind of land that we need to get this done, and people can live in harmony and in peace.
Harmony and peace, because they're going to, we're going to give them a house? What exactly are we going to do? Because if there's military force, we don't want any part of that. I don't know if you're aware of that. I don't want any part. I don't want to nation build. I don't think anybody does. Now, do I think we have to have a part in it? Of course we do. We have to be a referee, but we have to have several other referees. We can't just be the only referee. And here's the other thing. Then, of course, like I said, he's looking around going, man, I tell you what. Hey, BB, what do you think? You think we could put jet skis out there? Because that's what he's thinking. Jet skis would be good. Hey, you guys ever been on? You probably haven't been on jet skis. They're a lot of fun.
We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
I wonder what that would be.
Are you tired of the same old vacation spots? Are you looking for a getaway that's truly unforgettable? Welcome to Trump Sandals Gaza. At Trump Sandals Gaza, you'll experience an all-inclusive adventure like never before, with free midnight drone light shows, miles of sandy beaches, some of them newly created, authentic local cuisine cooked over an open blast crater, The adrenaline rush is unreal. Is this included in the package? And of course, at Trump Sandals Gaza, every stay includes surprise fireworks shows day and night, a one-way check-in process with no checkout needed. Once you check in, you'll never want to go. This is the most explosive vacation we've ever had. Trump Sandals Gaza, the last resort you'll ever need. Warning, travel restrictions apply. Airport access is limited. Trump Sandals Gaza is now responsible for unforeseen itinerary changes due to external circumstances. Trump Sandals Gaza, leave the world behind.
Yeah. And I've said for years, because I've had several friends from Palestine, and if you've ever looked at videos where people travel there, the beaches are gorgeous. That's why I've always joked, Israel, you didn't get the Great Land. They got the beach. That being said, would it be neat? Of course it would be. Is it going to happen? How many people do you think you're going to bring there and go, hey, let's go to Gaza, Atlantis, Gaza, with the big T on it, right? Kind of gaudy. Go to and not think something's going to happen. Just put it out there. I mean, it seems kind of hilarious, and you knew it was always going to happen because Trump looks at it, and he's a real estate guy, and he's like, this is great real estate. Imagine what we could do with this land. And Kushner said it last year.
He's looking at it going, I want to build a building here so bad.
They're going to have a golf course. It's 18 holes. It's going to be great. I got a great guy to design it. It's going to be fantastic.
We're going to build it around the mortar craters that are already there.
They've already helped us by knocking down all these buildings. It's great. It's fantastic. They're going to put one of those float things out there that people jump off of and you bounce and then everybody shoots in the air. It's going to be Girls Gone Wild.
It's a water trampoline, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. It's going to be cool. Speedboats, it's going to be fantastic. You guys are going to love it. And that sent everybody through.
I'm not sure if Hamas is really going to go along with the plan to have, girls in bikinis on the beach.
Here's the thing, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in a serious way. If you go back and look at Lebanon and several of these places way back in the day, what it used to be like, including Iran. But interestingly, if I'm them and I go to Hamas and I say, Hamas, you guys, this is just, let's be real. Terror is your business. That's what you guys do. We're going to take you to Vegas and we're going to take you to New York. We're going to introduce you to some people that show you how you can run a business, look cool, right? Right? And it's just between us, right? It's an hour thing, It's called the mob. You guys can run the rackets here. It'll be fantastic. And you know what? If it makes you feel better, cheat the Jews. We don't care. I mean, but and they'll probably go, well, if we're going to make money at it.
Yeah, we were going to hate them anyway. So it's like, if we can get paid and do it.
I get the whole, moving and wanting stuff, as they've talked about Greenland. He wants to expand because he sees China doing it. I understand that. But after, I think we'd all feel different if we didn't spend 20 plus years in Afghanistan, spend trillions of dollars, lose a bunch of lives, do the same thing in Iraq. And at the end of the day, what do we have? More instability. And we're right back to the Taliban running everything. I think it's a little different than that now because of that. If that hadn't happened, I think this would be different. Very interesting. A lot of stuff to get to today, including what I thought the farting story we did last week was the wildest story ever. I've got one to top that now. That includes these words: insane, cult, trans, vegan, serial killers. Not lying. Wait till you hear the story. It is Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. Ready for it? A 90-day challenge by Rough Greens. RUFFgreens.com. It's for your pooch right now. 90 days. Rough Greens wants to put you to the challenge. They're going to give you a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens for free. It's a $20 value. All you have to do is use code CHAD and cover the cost of shipping when you go to roughgreens.com. First 30 days, a little bit more energy you're going to see big time, and the coat's going to start to look shiny. Then you're going to see big time help with the digestive tract and energy and your aches and pains. And by the third month, your dog's going to be brand new. It's incredible. Rough Greens, is challenging you to take that challenge. And I tell you what, it helped my dog Doodle live an extra 5+ years healthier, happier than ever before. Try a Jumpstart trial bag now. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, $20 value. Doesn't cost you anything but shipping. And take the 90-day challenge with Rough Greens. RUFFgreens.com. Use code CHAD. Roughgreens.com. Code CHAD.
Buyouts for the entire force of the CIA. We'll tell you about it at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's going to be pretty interesting to see if that happens. They're going to be hiring, is what you're saying, at the CIA. Maybe we get some of the people from USAID to go over there. You guys are going to love it. Fantastic. Does any of you ever shot a gun? Oh, jeez. Mike Johnson.
Only the people that are actually members of the CIA also.
Yeah. Well, you know that guy that you and I walk? What's it, John Kurkow or Curacao? He's a CIA agent.
Yeah, Curacao.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, you should Google him sometimes, watch him. He's super interesting. And one of the things he talks about is he'll talk about, like, how the CIA gets money. And they'll have, like, literally a little book you write in, and inside of your area that you're at, wherever you're stationed, and you would go, you'd call up and say, I need $6 million cash tomorrow. And he goes, we'd have $6 million cash. We didn't even know where it came from. And I'd have to write it in my book. I wonder where it came from. Soft power, people. Soft power. Speaking of soft power, Mike Johnson, made up name.
I want to start this morning by addressing a few things we've heard this week from our Democrat colleagues. It's been pretty surprising. Here's a few quotes. Shut down the city. We are at war. We're going to fight it in the streets, it was said. This is what the beginning of a dictatorship looks like. This is their reaction to the flurry of activity that's come out of the new administration, and the president is doing exactly what he said on the campaign trail that he is going to do, would do. And he's delivering on that, and we're a big part of that, and we're going to do it as well. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party truly is seemingly lost. They have no rudder, they have no vision, they have no clear leader. The only message they have is anti-President Trump, and we've all seen that that's a failed strategy time after time.
Yep, and that's what it is. You have to, like I said earlier, you have to fight the fight that's right. You can't tell people who've been struggling with inflation, People have been struggling with, working 2 jobs while their wages have gone up. Inflation's just ran wild. They've had, few years of insanity with COVID. They've seen immigration just run rampant throughout the country, frustrated with where we were headed, crime up. And you can't tell them that, hey, you should care about this agency that you didn't know existed last week, and you should absolutely care about this agency now, big time. And then you go and you see that they fund crazy, wacky things in other countries, right? Like Serbia. Right, we're going to do DEI in Serbia. I'm like, well, how's that going to happen? I mean, no offense. I've been to, old Yugoslavia, and so it's not very diverse. What I'm trying to say, it's not a diverse place. How are you doing DEI there?
We started in the hostels.
We're going to have to actually import the D and the E and the I. That's part of the money. That's where it went. And being for something is important. I think we can all agree. They're not for something. They're against something. And let me tell you, I will say this, and I've said it, and you guys got mad at me the first week or so, but I think some of you realize there will be a clash with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's going to happen because you've got 2 big egos, and it doesn't mean that they're not going to get along all the time. And I have a feeling, both of them are high-energy people. And Elon has to watch what he's doing because he's in a position where he has got interest in certain areas. And because of that, that could potentially be a serious problem for him. And on the other side of it, there are some things I'm like, dude, I don't know if you should be messing around in some of these areas. This isn't what you were brought in for. Going after the U.S. aid and some of these other stuff, that is something. But running wild and amok, that's not going to happen under Trump's watch because Trump will eventually go, no, you're not going there. You're not doing that. Because I hear them go, he's going to just with a flick of his wrist turn off Social Security. I mean, do you think that's really going to happen? And Trump's going to be like, good work. Fantastic. Do Medicare next. Right? Like, you've heard that. Like the insanity. Like and you can't turn it back on, apparently. Good God. But he's got to watch himself because he has conflicts of interest. And there are certain rules in place because he's also not an employee. He's he's the same thing that Kushner and them were. He's like a volunteer. So there are some things that he has to watch out for legally because we have those guardrails. And so he'll have to watch some of his P's and Q's. Do I want him skulking around the Treasury? Probably not. But do I think that he's going to say, hey, Trump, I turned off all of the checks going out to grandma and grandpa today. Are you proud of me?
I actually feel like I got ahead of my death requirement.
Oh, God. Just insane.
All these old people, they're going to be out in the streets freezing to death from lack of food.
About time. Yeah, I'm turned on the cold air, too, for the country. Coming up, the wackiest, wildest story that was so insane, I thought to self, this cannot be real. But alas, it is real. And when you hear all of the particulars, you're going to think to yourself, oh, you're making that up. But I am not. I promise you that. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
$12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we are tracking the potential for severe weather today. Looks like the window of opportunity is going to be between 4 o'clock this afternoon, 10 o'clock tonight. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Reuters is reporting the CIA yesterday offered buyouts to its entire workforce. A CIA spokesperson said in a statement, the move is meant to align the agency with the goals of new CIA Director John Ratcliffe. Elsewhere in our nation's capital, Karen Travers.
President Trump this morning again said that everybody loves his proposal on the U.S. taking over Gaza. Turkey, Jordan, and Egypt have all come out against the idea. Jordan and Egypt also saying they will not take in displaced Palestinians. And the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia making it clear that unless there is an independent Palestinian state, there will be no normalization of relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia. That's a key issue President Trump is hoping to move forward on, something that was on his agenda Tuesday with the Israeli Israeli prime minister.
We are monitoring multiple reports now that Senator Mitch McConnell fell down after voting to confirm Scott Turner as President Trump's pick for Secretary of Housing and Urban Development this morning. Fox News reported the 82-year-old had to be helped up by other senators. Here in Nashville, Metro Police have identified the person who was killed in a shooting after a robbery at Green Hills Mall yesterday. They say 30-year-old Emmanuel M. Easley of Nashville is the person who died. Police are still asking that the shopper who was robbed to come forward so that person could help piece together how Easley was shot before he crashed that Tesla into some trees off of I-65 and I-440. A passenger in the Tesla, 30-year-old Omari Moore, is charged for the robbery. Also, unlawful gun possession by a convicted felon in connection to the robbery. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
We have fun. That's what we do. I told Bell when we came in today, I said, dude, I have a story that may be better than the farting story. And he's like, no.
And you were correct.
This story has everything in it that is fascinating that anybody could ever get to this point in life. Like how these people did it is fascinating. Let us start with the reporter telling us about it, trying to figure out how he says this, because even he seems to be a wee bit shocked.
Insane trans vegan gang, really. On Inauguration Day, a U.S. Border Patrol agent was shot dead in Vermont near the Canadian border. One of the shooters was a German national here on a visa in the U.S. Along with her trans partner, they fired shots and killed that Border Patrol agent in Vermont. But there's a lot more to this story. One of the shooters was engaged to a man who was also connected with the leftist trans vegan terrorist gang known as Z's.
Did you guys pick that up? Okay. So we have a trans vegan. They're insane. We got to start with the word insane. Insane trans vegan gang. It's really a cult, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But it wasn't one person being killed. No. Remember what I said earlier? Serial killers.
Joining us now for more is the senior editor at the Post Millennial, Andy No. Does this insane trans vegan gang really exist?
It exists because there are 6 homicides now. There are 6 people who have been killed who are linked to the alleged actions of this terror group that was at one point based in the Bay Area, California, but they allegedly have relocated to other parts of the U.S.
California? This came out of California? Well, and Germany, in several places. And you have to think of it like this. Think of Charles Manson, because there's a guy that's kind of running this thing, and there's several deaths that they're wanted for nationwide, which is bizarre again.
On the surface, it sounds like something that was written by AI. You have radical transgender individuals who are involved allegedly in an interstate, international conspiracy to radicalize and recruit members and to engage in serial killings across the United States.
No. Yes. So how this whole thing started was this wackadoo in California, Berkeley, shocker, starts putting together a group of people. And you've got a guy named Maximilian Schneider, Teresa Youngblood. They're at the center of this. They were being investigated. So they were at a hotel, and some of the staff there are like, hey, these people are really weird. Because usually vegans, they're gonna kill you, but it's just going to bore you to death with the fact that they're vegan. Right? If you've ever met a vegan, you know what they never do? Shut up about being a vegan. Am I right? They want to tell you about all the meat they've never eaten. I remember, what was it, Jim Gaffigan?
Yeah.
When the vegans started talking to him, he goes, and you know what I've done? What? I've never had a vegetable. Right? So there you go. So these people are nuts. It gets better. So they have a leader. His name is Ziz. He's a biological male who identifies as a woman. He uses the name Andrea Phelps. And he apparently, or she, or they, or them, or Zizor, has influenced the followers to do wacky stuff. So now you got Youngblood, who is this woman, biological female, but she identifies as trans and has those wacky Zizor, Zi pronouns, as you do, right? Like, because that's normal. And she's the one that got into the shootout with a border agent. And so they get pulled over, and this guy thinks, he thinks he has his name is Bachholt. He thinks he's got an expired visa, and they're acting a little nervous because they pull him over because the hotel says, hey, these people are dressed in tactical gear, and they look like they've got sidearms. And so they pull him over, and he starts panicking. She takes out a gun, shoots him. Then the border agent shoots them both. The guy dies, the border agent dies, and then she's arrested. Then you start going down on the same day that she's arrested, another one of the cult guys is arrested for killing an 82-year-old in California. And then you've got others who are already in jail for trying to samurai sword and kill a landlord. They're all super educated, all Oxford, Berkeley, like Berkeley's insane. But as far as education goes, if you've got Berkeley on your, as they would say, a CV or whatever, your resume, that's one of those schools. Cal Berkeley is not a school. It's a bunch of wackadoos in certain areas, but it's a super tough school to get into. And you've got these people who've got advanced degrees from like MIT, Oxford, Berkeley. My question is, how do you get down that hole? Like, okay, QAnon. I get, there's some wackadoos out there with QAnon. Let's be real. I mean, not trying to cast aspersions, but there are some people out there that maybe have gone down a rabbit hole or two. But based in some, you thought the election was stolen, but then you went from there to thinking it was Venezuelans and, bamboo and all this stuff. Okay. These people are young, top of their class, and they're somehow influenced in such a way to join a cult, first of all, where you gave up meat, which is insane alone, but then to go out and kill. And I'm always fascinated by stuff like this because when you see some of these pictures and you think to yourself, that could be anybody's kid. And they have killed on several occasions, apparently, and they're being investigated across the country for not only this, but for several others, intimidating witnesses. It is insane. And, of course, they're vegans, because I don't know how we get to vegans. My goodness me. Several of you are chiming in about USAID. USAID. I want to give it a name like USAID, but it's USAID.
USAID.
USAID. That's good. They're like, several of you are like, no, Chad, this is a good thing to get rid of. I'm not saying it's not. First of all, I hate to burst your bubble. It's not going away. What they're going to do is get rid of the lunacy. They're going to then stick it where it used to be. It used to be part of the State Department, and a few people ran it. And there are good things it does. But that's been hijacked by people who've decided to turn this insanity into a charity of activism. And so, yes, fighting malaria, that's a good thing. Fighting against some serious issues when it comes to HIV that is still a massive problem in parts of Africa and getting people medicine, that's a good thing. No, giving money to Colombia to have a trans opera. They should do a trans vegan opera. What would that be like? But that's not a good thing. So it's like anything else. It's balance. We're never going to have no government, because I've seen several of you out there who are like, we wish we had no government. No, you don't. Because if you met people, I mean, like the Purge, you think, oh, it would be like the Purge. Yeah, but it'd be like the Purge every day.
It's no longer a once-a-year holiday.
Yeah. Was it the new Founding Fathers? NFFF or whatever they're called? So, no, we don't want that. What we want is responsible, and I say that with a big R, governing. That's it. And if we could get some of that, it would be great. But it's hard to get some of that. Because if you're there for 15 or 20 years or 30 years, you're part of the furniture. Not only where all the bodies are buried, but you're also a person that's connected in so many ways, and you're able to make sure that money goes in certain places. And in doing so, you continue to get reelected over and over. And that's the frustrating thing. When I said earlier, they're out there protesting. They're protesting for government. They're not protesting for the people. They're protesting for government. And that's something that people need to understand. They're upset because government is being challenged like it's never been challenged before. And we should want those kind of things. We should be able to challenge our government. They don't like the way it's challenged because people are going, yeah, you guys are doing stupid stuff with money. That's not what we want. And if you're going to fight the fight, look, the fight there with if Trump allowed Elon Musk to flick the switch or whatever magic he's got, if he allowed that to happen, there is a fight that you're going to win. Republicans and Democrats are going to go, yeah, no chance you're going to get rid of Medicare, no chance you're going to get rid of not paying seniors or anything like that. They would absolutely lose their minds, and they would be in serious trouble, and Trump would slap him down. That's not happening. And that's, that's just not the fight that they have right now. They have a fight where they want to get people upset about Elon Musk running around doing something. And in truth, he's doing very little. Outside of making a lot of noise, there's just, cutting $2 trillion isn't going to happen. It isn't. Now, he could do it over a 5-year period maybe, but immediately, no. But it's upsetting them because he's in their sandbox, and now they're being looked at in a way that they've never been looked at before. Because government always had this kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, guys, you do it, we do it. I mean, we have an R, you have a D, but we're kind of on the same team when it comes to what goes on here. Oh, my goodness. Trump, real estate man himself.
Donald Trump is a real estate guy. And what have we heard him say in just his first 2 weeks plus? That he thinks the United States should have more real estate. Greenland, the Panama Canal, now Gaza. He outlined a dream of United States territorial expansion in the Middle East and a development of a kind of Dubai on the Mediterranean.
Yeah, I just don't foresee that happening. How cool would that be, though? But who's going to go there at first, right? Like, it's going to be, I would have to be really far away removed from the troubles that have troubled that area for a very long time. And the whole thought that, oh, yeah, Jordan and Egypt are going to take him and they're going to love it because we're going to build him 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes. And that isn't. And we're going to let him work at the casinos. Trump's like, okay, if you come to America, we have Native American lands and they have casinos. You guys are going to love this. It feels like he's ready to put them on a reservation.
And their casinos don't get taxed.
Yeah.
How sweet is that?
Yeah. You guys, we're all taking you guys this week to Foxwoods. That again, it's not going to happen, but it's a good idea, but it's not happening. The rest of the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or Qatar, depending on how you guys want to count it, they're going to have to get involved in a serious way for this to come even close to somewhat happening. And Trump is going to have to be so removed from the presidency before he throws a big T on one of those buildings there, which, he'll say it's a library. We can gamble.
It's his international presidential library.
Oh, my Lord. A bunch of other things still to get to this hour, including Pam Bondi. She's in now. She's been sworn in. And the transgender ban in sports. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. It is the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. Prize Picks. Right now, Prize Picks has something amazing for you. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you're saying, Chad, tell me more about Prize Picks. Well, you can go to Prize Picks right now. Download the app. Use code Chad. You get $50 free when you play your first lineup. And we're going to explain to you what a lineup is. So, and they've got the first freebie for the big game this weekend, which is, do you think Patrick Mahomes will throw more than 1 yard? I think that's pretty safe to say that that's going to happen. So that's your freebie box right there. So what happens is it's fantasy sports. You're choosing players. You're not choosing teams. So you would say, I'm going to pick Patrick. I think he's going to throw for more than 1. And I think that Jalen Hurts is going to throw for more than 215. There's a lineup set. You can win up to 1,000 times your money. There are tons of bonuses and prizes to play all the time. And right now, when you use my code Chad, when you download the Prize Picks app, the first time you play your $5 lineup, they give you a $50 bonus right there. That simple. Do it now. Go download the app, Prize Picks. When you do, remember code Chat. Play that first $5, $50 for you. Prize Picks, run your game.
Got a story about spinal stimulation, just a zap, and 3 people got up and walked away. We'll tell you about it at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Both Bell and I are going, this sounds interesting. Was Elon around?
That was a professional tease right there, buddy.
That was big time. I might let's see what this is all about. This seems like this could be incredible.
Was Elon?
Because that seems like something he does. He's like, check this out. I tried it once on a monkey. It seemed to work. This may work on a human. Let's go for it.
Well, you know, he was working on, I think it was an implant.
Yeah, he's got the implants.
Yeah, they're still doing that.
To help with paralysis, I believe it was.
Yeah, and to help to help people to be able to do things like it's crazy because the one guy that they implanted it in, he's able to do stuff now that he never thought he was able to because he also couldn't speak and he can do stuff now with it's his
Wasn't
mind.
he a quadriplegic?
Yeah, it's with his mind.
Yes.
That he can do things now that he's never thought he could do. And, you know, look, there's a lot out there about Elon that's a bit wacky and crazy. That's part of what makes him a genius, though, right? Like that's, you know, I mean, Van Gogh, by the way, everybody's like, he's a genius. If you ever read anything about Van Gogh, the dude, everybody thought he was crazy. He stunk. He was naked, cut his ear off. He walked around naked all the time.
He didn't just cut his ear off. He cut it off to impress a woman.
Yeah. It's like, do you hear me now? Do you? Huh? If you don't think I'm listening, I am. Here, take this everywhere with you.
We got to have these people, man. Look at Howard Hughes. Without Howard Hughes, I don't know if we'd have won the World War II.
No. Well, you know, that and the Nazis. But still, you know, and we brought some of them over. They helped. We want to forget that.
Well, that's true.
If you ever go to NASA, they're like, hey, what happened? Hey, that guy, didn't he test a whole, why are you guys taking down his picture?
Yeah.
But you're right. We need those geniuses that are single-minded in the way that they handle business, the way that they do stuff. They think in ways, you know, a lot of people think in just 2D. They think in 3D, 4D. They're thinking, you know, you go back to Steve Jobs and all of these people. There's a certain thing about them and the way that they do business, the way that they think that is so much further ahead. And it's in every industry.
Yep.
Well, you know, like sports. You know, Wayne Gretzky, great Wayne Gretzky, the greatest of all time. We have the Preds here. He was the greatest of all time. What did he say? I'm not skating where the puck is. I'm skating to where it's going. And you look at chess, right? Those masters who are, you make one move and they've already had 485 other moves that you can do and they've ruled you out. You're done. It's things like that that are impressive. And yeah, with that comes some of the craziness. I mean, you know, how many great musicians were nuts? I mean, let's be real. You know, not a lot of them are just regular folks. They have a little twinge the greater they are at times.
Butch and Sonny are going to love Elon after they finally get to come home from the space station.
Finally. How about those? What have they been up there, 7 months, 8 months?
I think so. It's at least 6 months.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got to jump in with this real quick because Patrick texted in and said he was a quadriplegic until about 8 months ago. And now he's walking. Not great, but he's walking, and they told him he'd never walk again. And I just got to say, way to go, dude.
Way to go, dude.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, Nikola Tesla. Somebody said, what about Tesla? Of all the things. He was a, you know.
Oh, he was a Fruit Loop and a half, but he was a genius.
Genius. I mean, and he wasn't a businessman. Edison was a businessman. He knew how to, yes, he was a great inventor somewhat, but he was a businessman who could take somebody else's stuff and make it incredible. Tesla was great at making stuff, but crazy. You know, I mean,
if you could have taken Edison's personality and put it into, if you could combine the two personalities of Tesla and Edison, that would have been a great human being.
Yeah, it would have been. But you're not, the thing is, you don't get those people very much. It's single-mindedness that makes them what they are. And, you know, we joke about the zap in the back, but the fact is long after we're all gone, he's going to develop little things on his way to trying to get everybody to Mars that are going to help us in everyday life that we don't even know about yet. Because that's what happens. And he is a little crazy. I bet he's a lot to hang around with.
Yeah.
You know? I bet there's like a shelf life of like, I got to go, dude. I can't hang out with you anymore.
I'm just really tired of hearing about the names that you're going to name your kid that have X in it.
Oh, God, that was right. XO49er or whatever you called it. Coming up next hour, more on all kinds of stuff. A little immigration, bunch of other stuff as well. If you're missing the show, we say, shame on you. Grab that podcast.
1 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We are tracking the potential for severe weather today. Got it in the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Colorado, Alex Stone says federal immigration agents are busy.
As ICE and other federal agents moved in, knocking on apartment doors around the Denver metro area and making some arrests on the streets outside, protesters yelled at the agents. Hannah Sickline lives in one of the apartment complexes and says in her opinion the crime there is a result of a landlord that doesn't enforce the rules or maintain the property.
The immigrants aren't the issue, really. It is the conditions. And it is an absent landlord, which is why we are now in this situation.
One of the apartment complexes raided was in Aurora and has been the focus of claims that it's run by Venezuelan gang members.
A lot of news coming out of Washington. A Justice Department official says FBI agents who, quote, simply followed orders will not get fired over January 6th.
As thousands of FBI agents worry that their participation in January 6th cases could end their careers or expose them to threats, the acting Deputy Attorney General says his intent is to home in on a core team of agents. The letter adds, quote, no FBI employee who simply followed orders and carried out their duties in an ethical manner is at risk. But it goes on. Those who, quote, acted with corrupt or partisan intent or who exercised discretion in weaponizing the FBI should be concerned.
CIA offering buyouts to staffers as Trump's new director of the agency looks to align it with Trump's agenda. Later today, President Trump scheduled to sign an executive order banning transgender athletes from competing in female sports. Pam Bondi sworn in today as the country's attorney general.
Thank you, President Trump. I've known you for many, many years, and I will not let you down. I am truly honored that you have asked me to take on this role, and I will make you proud, and I will make this country proud.
Vote in the Senate was 54-46. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas administering the swearing in the Oval Office. Here in Nashville, Metro Police have identified the driver of that Tesla, the driver dying after a robbery at Green Hills Mall and then crashing into some trees at I-65 and I-440 yesterday afternoon. 30-year-old Emmanuel M. Easley of Nashville had been shot, but police are not sure by whom. They arrested his passenger, 30-year-old Omari Moore, for the robbery and being a convicted felon in possession of a gun. But they say they need the shopper who was robbed in the Green Hills Mall parking lot to come forward to help piece it all together. 3 people with a muscle-destroying disease destined to worsen got a little stronger and are able to stand and walk more easily when an implanted device zapped their spinal cord.
It's the first evidence that a spine-stimulating implant already being tested for paralysis might also aid neurodegenerative diseases, restoring some muscle function, at least temporarily. That from an assistant professor at the University of Pittsburgh who led the month-long pilot study involving 3 patients. It's written up in the journal Nature Medicine. A researcher at Pitt says some small but longer studies are getting underway.
That's Chuck Severson and the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's the Chad Benson Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A lot of stuff happening. It's interesting. With Biden, not a lot happened. Very slow. Very, very slow. Just like glacial, kind of slow. With Trump, he gets stuff done. Now, part of that is throwing everything against the wall and seeing what sticks, because that's what politics was. In fact, I was reading a great opinion piece today about FDR and Trump and their first 100 days. And if you didn't know anything about FDR did the exact opposite of what Trump's doing. Trump's trying to figure out how to shrink federal government. FDR said, hey, look at all the horrible things that happen. We need to make government way bigger because government should be there for you. But it was that first 100 days. And so much of what he did was executive order after executive order after executive order. And so it is interesting because, you know, that's the way they're coming at this is what can we do? How can we shrink it? What can we change? And to be a change agent, you have to be a disruptor. Should we peel the curtain back a little bit, Bell? We could do that because Bell worked in music radio.
Yeah.
Music radio, for years, you'd get one or two people that were willing to try stuff in the music radio business.
Without a doubt.
And then everybody would piggyback because their fear was they'd get fired if they tried something.
Like a great example is KROQ in Los Angeles
Kevin
was
Weatherly.
sort of one of the leaders on the alternative field. And if you could get Kevin Weatherly to add it onto the playlist at KROQ, that would just suddenly domino effect a lot of other stations in the country.
But if you would have went to those other stations, even though they'll pick it up later, they would never have added something.
Yeah, we need to see a story first.
That's exactly it. And some people can look and go, this is what has to happen. You've got to do things different. You've got to, in business, disruptors win the game. That's what wins the game. That's what, being able to adapt is what wins it. Doesn't mean that everything he's throwing against the wall is going to stick, because I can tell you right now, that ain't going to happen. But it's interesting to see the way that he's done it. Even, we joke about the Middle East and whatnot. But if you're honest for a second, you guys have been fighting since, I don't know, forever. And by that, I mean, I'm looking at every one of you, right? Not just the Palestinians and Hamas. I'm looking at you, Lebanon. I'm looking at you, Jordan. I'm looking at you, Egypt. I'm looking at every one of you. Yemen, get over here. They've been fighting forever over land that they believe that is holy to them. You would think the gods would have got together and say, hey, let's put this over here. And we'll put some of these things over here. But you've not done anything that's worked. So, yes, while I think some of the stuff he talked about yesterday was a little bit crazy, and no, I don't want any kind of boots on the ground. I mean, to enforce these things, you would have to, because you're going to have to police it to get whatever it is that you want up and running. He's talking about let's find a place let's give them nice homes.
If we can get a beautiful area to resettle people permanently in nice homes and where they can be happy and not be shot, not be killed, not be knifed to death like what's happening in Gaza. And right now you have in Gaza a very dangerous situation in terms of explosives all over the place.
Yeah, all that's right. And is it interesting to think about what you would do with that? Of course. So if you go back and look in the 50s and 60s, go look at Beirut, go look at Tehran. You type in, Tehran in the 50s. There are gorgeous women in miniskirts running around. It was the place to be. It was like, Cuba used to be before Fidel. Everybody would go from Europe and places to Beirut, to, and you're like, no, what? Yes. And they would go to Tehran. It was hip. There was Chanel everywhere. It was like going to Paris in the Middle East before Saudi Arabia, before Dubai and all that stuff. That's where people headed. And then the loonies got in and everything changed. And there's been 4+ decades of insanity in a lot of these places. And it's not working. So, yeah, do I think it would be interesting to see how this would look? Of course. Jared Kushner. You guys remember Jared Kushner? This is what Jared said about Gaza.
In Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable to if people would focus on kind of building up livelihoods. You think about all the money that's gone into this tunnel network and into all the munitions. If that would have gone into education or innovation, what could have been done? And so I think that it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there. But I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterward.
But he just wants you guys to know that that property is fantastic. I just want you guys to know. Hey, Belle, would you think about coming with me? Because they're going to give me a 3-day weekend to look at a timeshare.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Or what's the prize? What do we get for just going?
Well, we're going to get 3 days to be able to enjoy ourselves. And you know what? I mean, you're going there. And
do I get lift passes?
You're going to get some lift passes. And for me, well, you know what I'm excited to do is check out the golf.
Are you looking for the ultimate luxury escape? Are you dreaming of pristine fairways and unparalleled opulence? Welcome to the all-new Trump Gaza Golf Resort. Nestled along the sparkling Mediterranean coast, Trump Gaza offers an 18-hole championship golf course designed by the best in the business. Experience world-class amenities, including 5-star accommodations with panoramic sea views, gourmet dining featuring international and local cuisines, exclusive spa treatments to rejuvenate your senses. It's a hole-in-one experience, the perfect blend of luxury and leisure. At Trump Gaza, we've transformed a historic region into a paradise for the elite. Whether you're here for business or pleasure, our resort offers an unmatched experience anywhere in the Middle East. Book your stay today and be part of the next chapter in luxury. Trump Gaza Golf Resort, where exclusivity meets excellence. With a smidge of tacky.
Would be interesting, but I would explain it. Nothing else has worked. And you're going to have to get on board with this, and you have to look to everybody in the region if they're going to do it. You must get on board with this, and this is what it looks like. Everybody's going to be participating. We all are. And that way everybody's got a skin in the game, and it's not just Palestine. You guys are going to have to deal with, whatever Western country comes in here and decides to take advantage of this, or China, which, by the way, that's the other thing people freak out about with, U.S. aid, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but expansion with capitalism, I'm all for. Nation building, that's a hard pass. But I don't know what nation that would be, because I have a feeling that would be Israel, maybe? I don't know. Because if you're talking about moving them, and I like the way Trump's like, oh, yeah, like Egypt and them are totally going to take them. Yeah, I'm thinking no on that one. Trump is doing some stuff today. Women. Are you ready to have sports back?
Directs federal agencies, including the Department of Justice, to enforce it. And if universities do not comply, the White House warns they could not only lose federal funding, but also face legal action. The president is expected to sign this at an event later at the White House today. And they do expect some sporting organizations, including the NCAA, to follow suit.
That's the right thing to do. The activist organizations in the T of the transgender world, the LGBT, the biggest one in the country is in California. Not a shocker. And when they released all of their stuff that was basically released by somebody getting a hold of it, one of the things inside there, it said, we have no defense for men and women's sports. There is no, we could try to come up with something here with gender or this for that. But when it comes to this particular thing, there's just not a defense. And there isn't. And I'm not one of these people that are like, oh, you got to get rid of everyone. They're all freaks and weirdos and whatnot. There's a place somewhere for some participation at some level. But let's be honest. This was never something that should have ever happened. This isn't like, my daughter's 6. She could play soccer this year, and she's going to play with boys and girls. They're little. They're running around. They don't know what they're doing. My son, he plays hockey. Up until 2 years ago when they couldn't hit, we had girls on their team. The minute they could hit, everything changed. Because the kids, it was really interesting, especially that last year, because he had 2 girls on the team that were really good. They could skate better than the boys. And But from the summertime, it was like all of them grew like 5 inches and the girls stayed the same size. And it was like they were all of a sudden playing little kids. And that's just nature. And the fact that it's controversial, and it goes back to what we talked about earlier with the, if you're the Democrats, you guys got to pick a fight that is a fight that everybody can go, okay, I get that. We joked earlier that Elon's going to run around because somebody said, Elon's going to go flick the switch and no one's going to have Social Security ever again. And like if that happened, there's a fight that everybody's going to get on board with because Republicans get Social Security. They get Medicare. Same thing for Democrats. Everybody'd be on board saying that can't happen. But you picked a fight where a vast majority of America goes, that's silly. No, they shouldn't play. They shouldn't play at all. There's no way. So, but what will happen is he's going to be called all the horrible things because it's about him. That's what they make it. It's about him. Well, good. Have fun with it. I don't think you're going to see men's playing women's sports. And I've always said, I agree with John McEnroe. If this is what the fight's going to be about, then let's just do away with men's and women's competition. We'll just have sports. Which nobody wants, by the way. I'm raising girls. I don't want there to just be sports because just being sports means they're not going to have a chance of participating. Pam Bondi, New AG.
Thank you, President Trump. I've known you for many, many years, and I will not let you down. I am truly honored that you have asked me to take on this role, and I will make you proud, and I will make this country proud.
So it looks like everybody's going to get through, which is good. And now the measuring begins because everybody's complained, well, Pete doesn't know what he's doing. Do you really know that? Pete may have a vision that's incredible, and he surrounds himself with people because great leaders surround themselves with people that can do great jobs, and that's what you do. You empower them to do the job. The vision may be yours, but you empower them. Pam Bondi, I think out of all of them, Marco Rubio and Pam Bondi were the easy and the most solid choice. And Pam Bondi, because, I mean, even my buddy who's a Democratic operative is like, most AGs had never been an AG. She was an AG of a state. She did the mini job. So this is it was hard to go really up against her outside of just trying to delay her because they want to go, are you going to persecute and prosecute everybody who went up against Trump, that kind of stuff. That's all they have. So we shall see. Oh, my Lord. Education being cut? Yes, no, maybe. Do you know how much the federal government gives to the states? Because I think everybody thinks the federal government runs and just hands all this money to the states. That's not true. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But the influence they have when it comes to certain things is the real issue. Like everything else, it's not so much always the money, it's the influence. We'll talk a little bit about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. And you know what? I'm going to look into that spinal thing that you guys were talking about earlier because I find that fascinating. 3 zaps for 3 people, and they're walking again. That is crazy. Again, it's probably Elon somewhere running around shocking people. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. It is the Big Yum event going on right now at Omaha Steaks. We had fillets last night. Oh, my Lord. They were incredible. Just amazing. So if you go to omahasteaks.com right now, you're going to get an extra $20 off and use my promo code Benson. Minimum purchase may apply. So you're going to get you want fillets? Just that's it? Go for it, right? We're talking about the best. And the thing about Omaha, hot dogs are incredible. Burgers are incredible. Pork chops. You guys know I love my pork chops. Steaks. Chicken, all of it's amazing. We're going to have chicken tonight. It's 100% unconditional money-back guarantee, meaning if you're not happy, hey, send it back. This is what they do for a living. 5 generations, this is what they do. And they're ready to make sure that you enjoy the Big Yum as well, like we have. Go to Omaha Steaks, take advantage of the Big Yum event going on right now, and check out all the amazing deals. Now, when you go to omahasteaks.com, use my code Benson. They're going to give you $20 off immediately at checkout. OmahaSteaks.com. Get an extra $20 off and use promo code Benson. Minimum purchase may apply. OmahaSteaks.com, code Benson. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, HVAC. It's cold out. It's nasty out. The rain. You don't want things to go sideways, do you? No. You don't want mold to get anywhere. You don't want any of that nest. You want none of that stuff. Let me tell you something about Busy Bee Plumbing. They can come on out there. They can take care of you. Whether it's your HVAC, right, which we know, like we're having issues with ours, and they're getting ready to come over because it's either 300 degrees all the time or it's freezing. That's why you're like, Busy Bee, this is what it's all about. Call them. They zip over. They're not going to sell you anything crazy. They're going to give you the real answer to the question you have when it comes to your plumbing, your HVAC. It's that simple. They've got great deals, including my thing that I told my wife, we got to get this. So with any new HVAC, you're going to get a $200 value free, which is the complimentary smart thermostat. So that means summertime, hot, nasty, sticky, from your phone, turn it on, rock and roll. It's that simple. Call Busy Bee today. Simple. Call. Say, hey, I got issues with my pipes. I got issues, whatever it is. They'll come out and check it. 775-7833. 775-7833. Check out the famous Beehive Club as well. 775-7833 or visit busybhvac.com.
A Tennessee lawmaker wants to punish doctors if they ask patients about their guns. We'll tell you about that at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So last week we were talking about Deep Seek. And I said, if you think TikTok's bad, you got to think Deep Seek may have some issues.
Deep Seek seemingly came out of nowhere, revealing a powerful artificial intelligence tool that is now the #1 downloaded app on Apple and Google. But Deep Seek could pose a risk to users' personal data and to national security because of what seems to be a direct pipeline to the Chinese government.
What? No way.
We see direct links to servers and to companies in China and that are under control of the Chinese government. And this is something that we've never seen in the past.
That's what we said. You may have something amazing. And again, I didn't buy that they did it for like $1.50 or whatever they said. They, look, slavery, the way that they treat their people over there to get something done, will get stuff done, and they can charge whatever they want at that point in time, and you're going to have to, deal with it. But as everybody runs around and worries about TikTok, and we're like, oh, my God, here comes this new thing with AI, it might be interesting. And one thing that I do know is it's kind of wonky. It's not all it's cracked up to be. It is, it doesn't have that power that the other ones have, and it wouldn't exist without all of the other AI. But it's China. And China is always going to China, which means they care about themselves first, and themselves being the Communist Party, it's always about getting as much information and data and making sure that you bring it home.
DeepSeek concedes it sends data to China, but where Ivan Sirani at cybersecurity firm Fairroot says it may end up is concerning.
The software code loaded on DeepSeek's website has a direct reference and ability to send information to China mobiles, servers,
China Mobile is a state-owned telecommunications company that has been sanctioned in this country over fears it could cause irreparable damage to U.S. national security.
And if I am Google and if I am Apple, what are you doing still? I mean, the worry about TikTok. Okay, at least TikTok is trying to come across in a way where they're more of a, we separated stuff. We're trying to be a little bit more, we've separated everything. And TikTok's issue for me was never about them collecting data. They can collect it. You know they're going to. But it's the way that this company is collecting it. It is straight to them. TikTok was more about the influence it can have in this country comparatively to what it does there. Their version of TikTok has a time limit. Their version of TikTok promotes things like STEM, promotes things like great achievements for China. Ours has silly dances and wacky things. And some of them are fun, and it's very amusing. But if the worry was anything about this, and I know that they put it out there as an open source, and the open source means that you can go and you could grab the entire code. You could move it over onto your computer, and then you could create your own little AI, whatever it is. The problem is to think that they haven't put something in there somewhere to try to get you to do something would be fooling ourselves. And this goes straight, like I said, this goes straight to this company, which we have already said, well, no, they work for China, the Communist Party, directly. So I bet NVIDIA's smiling today going, see, told you guys, told you. So my uncle, and we're going to have him on, we might have him on tomorrow or Friday. One of the things we were talking about with this is it's user-friendly and it's kind of okay, but it doesn't have power. It doesn't, you know, you can do some things with it that you just couldn't be able to do with if you were trying to run an AI with a normal computer. That being said, it would not exist at any kind of level without our AI and the hundreds of millions and gazillions of dollars we put into that. Speaking of that,
President Trump has campaigned on this. It has been a promise of his for years. And conservatives are saying that the Department of Education is just spending too much money. It has a budget of over $200 billion. And they say over the 40 years that the department has been open, it's been spending all of this money on students without the adequate results from the students.
Very true. We talked about it last week, the struggles that we have. Our report card came out from 4th and 8th graders, and it was horrible. And while we're trying to do something, right, with vouchers, and how's that going to play itself out, we've got to be serious about taking a look at how we go about distancing ourselves. And not only, you know, the money side of stuff, we'll touch on that a little bit because I think everybody thinks that all the money comes from the feds. That's not true. It's very small. It is the influence, though, with the teachers' unions and the powers that they have within the federal government that is the issue. And that's the separation that's the most important part of what may be coming. Talk about that and some other good stuff as well, including the choo-choo train to nowhere, California's choo-choo train. If you guys haven't heard the story, because, you know, we've got one here supposedly getting ready to start or whatever's going to happen, not quite sure yet, without those federal funds, huh? But it's a perfect example of why ridiculously old technology is super expensive and nobody wants it. And Trump even said yesterday, we need to investigate. And you know what? Talk about a boondoggle. Wow. That's what they call it in California, the boondoggle. It is the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, tracking the potential for severe weather. The window between 4 and 10 o'clock this afternoon and night. Full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, a bill has been filed in the General Assembly that says healthcare providers cannot ask you whether you own any guns or they're going to risk a disciplinary action and fines. News 2 says Rickman, Republican State Rep Ed Butler is the sponsor, who says he was told by constituents doctors had asked them about guns and ownership, and he doesn't want anybody discriminated for it. Any doctor found in violation could face the disciplinary action and then fines up to $1,000. The exceptions under this bill are mental health providers. Right now in Robertson County, authorities say keep your doors and windows locked and your eyes open for anything suspicious. Call 911. They're looking for 39-year-old Jimmy Anthony Cox, believed to be dangerous. Last seen near Fishers Grove Road. Big search involving aircraft, drones, and a lot of cops and canines on the ground since Cox's stepson was found dead with stab wounds. Federal immigration-related raids underway in the Denver metro area today.
Audio from a Ring doorbell camera. You can hear federal agents arriving at a Denver apartment asking to search it. Multiple ICE operations unfolded Wednesday morning, said to be targeting the violent Venezuelan prison gang Tren de Aragua. Hannah Sickline lives in one of the apartment complexes.
We do have immigrants here, but because this place has a reputation and its name has been put out there as that this is a dangerous place.
Included in the raids was an Aurora apartment complex that President Trump has claimed was controlled by the gang.
The CIA said to be offering buyouts to staffers as Trump's new director of the agency looks to align it with Trump's agenda. And later today, President Trump scheduled to sign an executive order banning transgender athletes from competing in female sports. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Continue through tonight and into our day tomorrow, so you'll want to keep the umbrella handy. We're back in the 70s tomorrow before a drop in the 50s, and we dry out for Friday.
In honor of the 47th president, our good buddies over at the Wellness Institute of Nashville are doing something for you. How about this? 47% off non-surgical and spinal decompression and the big 47 offer this year. That is awesome. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, absolute experts, the best around. They're going to show you and help you in ways you cannot believe, especially when it comes to your back and your knee. So non-surgical spinal decompression, they've got this machine that's just amazing, okay? And you walk in there, you're just going to be like, this place is incredible. It's going to help heal the disc by opening the disc so that the blood and the nutrition can get to the area and heal the spine, disc, and nerve. They've got knee decompression. It's kind of similar as well. But this big 47, this incredible deal, I'm telling you guys, when it comes to your back, when it comes to your knees, it's about health because you only get one of these, and they're going to help you take care of it and get you back up and going. Start your new year off right, pain-free. Yep, it's absolutely possible. And right now, 47% off with their big 47 offer going on. Call today, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or go to painisbad.com.
This is Paul Winkler with investor traps to avoid. Trap number 1, someone telling you stocks to buy and when to get in and out of the market. If someone really knew the future, why would they tell you? You need someone on your side. Go to paulwinkler.com and schedule a call today. paulwinkler.com.
In the market for a new home, you may have questions. What loan is right for you? What neighborhood should you look for? How important is purchasing power and how to stay competitive in today's housing environment? I'm Tanya Escobar. Tune in to my show every Saturday at noon to hear answers to these questions and more right here on Super Talk.
soft water shower and wash away the worries with a sauna-like experience.
AquaClear, I love you.
Brought to you by Dr. Friday Tax and Financial Firm, an enrolled agent with the IRS to represent you. For tax services, planning, business, and IRS negotiation, call 615-367-0819 or at drfriday.com.
YouTube personality Betty Johnson has cracked the code on a new era of newsmaking. It's got to be music to your ears. It's like the angels singing. Listen, learn, and laugh.
I had a feeling you'd be in a very good mood. Oh, this is going to be a glorious day. I count the little for you.
It's a new cultural landscape.
So it's an important moment right now. Does this deserve another look?
The Benny Show.
Seize it in all of its glory.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
I know we're going to have issues with our choo-choo train that they're trying to put in here. Without federal funding, guys, I have news for you. It doesn't go well. I've always been fascinated. It's a jobs thing, right? Democrats love these kind of things. And, you know, Americano, he's like, this is a big deal, right? Because, oh, look, we're getting this stuff done. It's going to be great. We're going to have a train that nobody is really going to take. I mean, it works in places like New York, where you have a subway, London, where you have a subway. It works in certain places. And for the most part, they've been there forever and a day. Most people don't want to take a train. They don't. Most people, because we're a car society, that's a big deal. If all of us lived in Nashville and we built up instead of out, maybe you can make a case for it. But we don't. We live all over. Many of you listening are traveling right now. You may live 40 miles, 30 miles. It's not convenient. And if you have the means to have a car, you're going to take it. That's the reality. But it's a jobs thing. And we're bringing money into the city. And yeah, maybe you might get a few people who come here to visit that ride it. But it's not like when you go to San Francisco and everybody rides, you know, the cart up and down. It's not that.
No one's on our interstate sitting there in their car going, damn it, why can't I get on a bus?
Nobody. Because have you been on a bus? No, you don't want to be on a bus. My God.
Just what bothers me about it more than anything else is just the fact that somebody else is in control of where I'm going, when and how quickly.
Like that's, you know, I mean, and especially if you've had a car. Like if you've grown up with it. Like I have friends who live in New York. They've never owned a car. They don't need to. I have friends in London. They've
a lot
never
of New
owned a
Yorkers
car.
don't even have driver's licenses because it's not necessary.
Not necessary. But they didn't build the city and then threw up the travel. It was there. So California is the perfect example of how not to do things. And yesterday, Trump brought this up about their high-speed rail.
One of the things I want to investigate, the train that's being built between Los Angeles and San Francisco is the worst managed project I think I've ever seen, and I've seen some of the worst. Billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars over budget. In fact, I read where you could take every single person that was going to go on the train and get the finest limousine service in the world and take them back and forth with limousines, and you'd have hundreds of billions of dollars left over.
Is that true? Well, I was there in 2008 when they passed it, and I was all over the radios telling, do not pass this thing. It is never going to happen the way that you think it's going to happen. It is going to be a ridiculous amount of money. What they're telling you it's going to be, $10 billion, then 12, maybe this. It's never going to be that. We're already seeing that with the choo-choo train here. You know, I remember when Freddie was on with Matt before he came out here, and I remember them talking, and Matt's like, okay, what's the real cost, right? Like, there's a real cost, because that's what they tell you. Well, no matter how bad you think we have it here, originally, in California, it was supposed to be $33 billion, which is insane. It's over $135 billion, heading to $200 billion. And if you want to know how much track they have built, virtually none. Virtually none. 22-mile stretch of initial opening, and this is for $135 billion, and 60 miles of a guideway are complete. That's the Central Valley. The place that nobody goes, by the way, you know what's there? Chowchilla, which is a prison. You know what else is there? Bakersfield.
Was Coachella named after?
No, that's Coachella. This is Chowchilla. That's where my sister was when she had some issues.
Near each other?
No.
So they have literally-
Coachella is Palm Springs.
Okay.
Chowchilla is like in the middle of the state.
Got it.
Nothing is being done. And here's the other thing. It was supposed to be a bullet train. But all these cities said, well, we don't want you to go fast through here. So any city you're going to go by, they're going to slow down. That's if they ever get it done, because what ends up happening is we have to do an environmental impact report. We've got to find out why that the wee willy winky worm or a smelt or whatever may pass through here. You know, we saw an owl fly by, so we have to see what impact that's going to have. See, if you would have told people in California, hey, we're going to build a bullet train from L.A. to Vegas, people would have been, all right, that sounds fun. Like, that sounds cool. But there's airplanes, and they leave every 30 minutes to both San Francisco and to Vegas. Why would I want to sit 2 hours on a train when I can get there in 30 minutes for $40? Because it's great money. What have you done with $135 billion? And that's the fear here, right? That they're going to start digging, start building, and there's no federal money now. That's the worry that Maricona has. There's no federal money coming in potentially. And you're going to start, stop. You're going to tear up roads. You're going to mess with people's businesses, making it impossible. And we've had this when I was in Phoenix, where they would start digging and they would start doing stuff. Getting to people's businesses was a nightmare. So you're doing stuff that is it's ridiculous because it's going backwards. You would have been better buying everybody a car. Who wants a car? We were going to do a train. We've decided to do a car. Everybody would have said yes. Because nobody wants to be on a train. And because it's not convenient. You know, like so many of these, like, and I've been all over the world. I've been on every kind of subway. I would tell you, it's convenient. Like when I was working in London and on Oxford Street, we got off right there. I walked across the street. And if it was further down, I could have got off at the next one. It would have been fine. But so many of these things, like you got to drive somewhere half the time, because it's not like they pick you up in front of your house. So you got to drive somewhere already, unless you live in the city, to get onto something, to then be taken somewhere where you have to get off and then try to get to where you're going, to then drive back. And it's not feasible for what people want. It's not conducive to the lifestyle we lead, which is we've built out, not up. And when you do that, people need mobility. And like Bell says, people don't want to be sitting there going, I wish I was on a bus, right? Because you can do Uber for that. And they'll take where you want. And you don't have to share it. And you may or may not be attacked. You know, we're not quite sure about that. But it's just not the place that people want their money going. And the fact that people get voted, they love to talk about all the things it's going to do. You watch what happens. This thing eventually gets up in 25 years or whatever. They'll open it the first weekend. They'll give everybody rides for the first weekend. And then on that following Monday, they'll say, yeah, we're going to lose $5 billion this year. It's just not conducive to the real world that we live in. Speaking of the real world we live in, we have decided we want school choice, which is a wonderful thing. I like school choice. How it's done matters. Like, I can already tell you this. So you guys know I do my other show, and Dallas is one of my big stations. I can tell Governor Abbott wants to do this so bad. He is pushing this. They're going to have their special election. They're going to get this thing cross the line because he failed a couple of years at getting this done. I can already tell you, though, based on how they're going to do it, it isn't going to work. It isn't. They're not giving the kind of money that they're giving out. It isn't going to be sustainable. It isn't going to work the way that people think it's going to work. I think we have a great idea. I think the way this thing's handled, again, implementation is the most important thing. How you actually handle your business will matter. But when it comes to the federal side of things, Trump's saying he wants to dissolve, again, you got to go through the power of the purse, which is Congress. The Department of Education, I have zero problems with neutering them, I think would be the best way to describe it. I think there is a place, but the place that they have now is all political, very little education.
Where's the money going? Who's taking it? Are they trying to take that money that kids get for tax cuts for billionaires? What's going on? That's why we have to see what they're doing. It is illegal to take that money out of children's mouths and give it to billionaires.
Now, are there areas you think that could be improved or streamlined?
Oh, my God. My members, remember, Al Shanker actually didn't want a Department of Education. He wanted it to stay, one of my predecessors, he wanted to stay within Health and Human Services, HEW, because he thought it was more important to have the whole child focused on. So, of course, there are ways to fix the bureaucracy. Of course, there are ways to make things better.
That right there is the person that Mike Pompeo called the most dangerous person in America. Her name is Randy Weingart. She runs the teachers union. She's like the powerful.
She's so hated she can't tweet without locking her comments.
Oh, yeah. You can't. I mean, like even teachers can't stand her because it's not about education. And that's the thing. Somewhere along the line, like most things do, it became about politics, not the service of what it was in the spirit of which it was intended. It became about politics. And what you're hearing, like whether it's U.S., aid or the Department of Education, all of them started somewhere else. Then they wanted to be their own agency because that way they had the influence that they wanted. And their influence is huge. The money side of it, it's like 10%. Some states get a little bit more, some states get a little bit less. It's not a massive amount that comes to the states, but the influence on the political side of it through the administration, how certain books and curriculum are picked, those are the things that need to be paid attention to.
States and localities run education. That's where 90% of the funding for education goes. They already run it. They should run it. The federal government should not run it. But if we want to try and make things better, like having different kinds of pathways for kids in terms of career and tech ed, the states and localities have not done this.
Yes, they are. And they're doing it more and more. And it's what we've talked about, the reimagining of education. Looking at somebody who's 16 years old and saying to them, Johnny, we'll use Johnny. We don't know who Johnny is, but, Johnny, you're great with your hands. You have great aptitude in dealing with mechanical things, whatever they are. And, you're taking shop or whatever they're teaching nowadays. School, college, that's not the path. There's other ways, and getting them out into a world where they can learn and then start to earn as an apprentice and things like that. That is important. You guys never wanted that because everything you saw as choice or a different path was potentially danger to holding on to the power. And you didn't see it as a new thing, Randy. You saw it as adversary. Now that people are looking in and saying we need to do this, guess what? Now you're like, oh, we should totally do that. It would be great to do that. A little too little and a little too late. Oh, my Lord. Hey, tweet at us. Feel free to do that at Chad Benson Show. Of course, text the program. Bell will be answering you. I know he is. What's up with me having gingivitis? What was that?
You have gingivitis.
Oh, because of my ginger hair?
Yeah, you're a ginger.
I am a ginger. No soul, that's why hair.
If you have red hair, that makes you a ginger, which means you have gingivitis.
That's right. I do. Some people talking about Chowchilla, famous for palm trees and the Chowchilla kidnappings. If you don't know what that is, that was when that guy stole the bus with all the kids on it and then hid the bus underground.
Oh, he buried the whole bus?
He buried the whole bus.
I vaguely remember that. I think it was an episode of Criminal Minds or something.
Yeah, there's Chowchilla, kids. That's what it is. My buddy texted me. He's listening on the old YouTube, and he said the first segment's a crazy chain goes between Bakersfield and Merced. Both places people want to leave, not go to. There you go, everybody. And we're going to put a choo-choo train throughout downtown. We'll figure it out. It's Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Bulwark Capital, I want you to think for a second about your retirement. Maybe you're kind of, you're in your 30s. You're going, hey, I'm putting some money away. Maybe you're in your 60s, and you're not quite sure if you're going to be able to make it to retirement as far as surviving through with money because you think, I'm healthy, I'm going to live a while. Call Bulwark today. Get a second opinion on what's going on in the market. What Bulwark does is they actively manage accounts. Lowering risk, lowering costs, lowering volatility is their number one strategy. They're about risk management. They're going to give you a second opinion, talk about what it is that they see, from you, where you want to go and how they think they can get you there. It doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time. My buddy Zach's going to take care of you. He is great. Call 866-779-RISK today. 866-779-RISK. Or check out everything they do at knowyourriskradio.com, KNOW, yourriskradio.com today. Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Investments involve risk and not a guarantee. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Trek 25103.
Tennessee state lawmakers will be debating additional school security measures. We'll tell you about a bill filed today coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
At stake here are thousands of children who are born in the U.S. every year who would become potentially stateless, and they would be undocumented if this executive order from the Trump administration were to actually go through. Now, the reason why many of them could become stateless is because many of these women are unable to return to their home countries because of fears of political persecution. So this could create an entire new generation of people who are in legal limbo.
First of all, can we just be honest here? They're not here because they were politically persecuted. May there be some here that are politically persecuted? Like if you came from Afghanistan and you're running for your life because you wanted to teach young girls how to read, okay. If you came from Guatemala because there was better opportunity to raise a family here, that's not the same. That's not the same. So let's not pretend that. All of these things are coming so fast. All of this executive order, like super fast, this was one that came, and then like anything else, it's on to the next, and we forget, like, oh yeah, what's happening with that?
This is established law. So within the legal community, it's really audacious to be taking a strike at the heart of the plain language of the Constitution and Supreme Court precedent. So if the court goes along with Donald Trump, it really upsets the stability of our constitutional system itself. The stakes really couldn't be higher beyond just the 14th Amendment here.
Well, we'll find out. It will eventually, I think, get to the Supreme Court. If I had to put money on it, I think they're going to keep it the way it is. And you've got Roberts, who doesn't like to touch things from the past, likes to let it be how, because he's an originalist, and he looks at it in a much different way than other people. But I think they're going to look at this and say, no. Now, are there ways of doing other things? That's a question that needs to be asked. It's like everything else. Like we were talking earlier today about, I don't know, whatever it was, Gaza. Perfect example. So we're talking about Gaza, and while Trump's talking about, it's going to be the Riviera of, we're going to build a new Dubai-like thing, whatever he said. We're going to move them all somewhere else and give them free houses. Well, that's not going to happen. What needs to be talked about is it's different than what has been done, because what has been done has shown not to work. So you're going to have to think outside the box. And that's why if I'm Congress and I'm serious about a lot of stuff, because I'm not sure they're always serious about things, I say to myself, what can we do that, sure, the kid can have a citizenship, but the parents don't get it. And until that kid is X amount of years old, that kid can't sponsor and or keep the parents here. Therefore, giving them a choice of what to do if indeed they are told they have to leave. And, because a lot of people talk about, well, it's the anchor baby. Well, if you put it in that way and you pass it as a law, it makes it so much harder for them to go and try to undo stuff. And it's coming at it from a different way. And you've got to be able to do that. And this is the adapting kind of thing that government's not good at. Government is reactionary. Something happens, they react to it. They don't get in front of it. It's like when we talk about, Elon and some of his wackiness. What does Elon do? Elon is thinking about what's the next move. Great chess players have several moves already worked out. Athletes know where the ball's going. They know who's going to get it to them. They're not waiting for it. Same thing here. I'd like to see that in government. Quite frankly, I'm not sure we're going to get that. We have the third hour of the Magical Chad Benson Show. Like it when you guys text us. You can do that. Text line's wide open. I don't even know if that's true. Is there even a...
Yeah, it's true. 737-9986.
You don't get a busy signal?
737-9986. On the text line? Nah.
That's Bill Kaeh, everybody. He's got no head. That's what I heard. He's got a lot of hair, though, so that's also weird. It's Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we are tracking the potential for severe weather. Window looks between 4 o'clock this afternoon and 10 o'clock tonight. Tell you more about it during the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, state lawmakers will be debating additional school security measures, like a bill filed today that changes standards for school windows. The bill requires buildings modeled or constructed after July 1st, 2023, and before this coming July, install a clear entry-resistant film on the glass panel of every door and window, even in the basement of school buildings. And a bill has been filed that restricts Tennessee doctors from asking you if you own any guns. If a doctor does, he or she would face disciplinary action and fines up to $1,000. The exceptions are mental health providers. The sponsor, Rickman Republican State Rep Ed Butler, says he wants to protect gun owners from discrimination. In our nation's capital, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the White House wants to protect girls and women from men in sports.
The president will be signing an executive order keeping men out of women's sports to defend the safety of athletes, protect competitive integrity, and uphold the promise of Title IX.
Says Trump will be signing an executive order later today, and the Trump administration fully expects lawsuits will be filed to block it. A new memo from the Justice Department on January 6th, with the Associated Press saying it says FBI agents are being told, quote, they will not be fired if they simply followed orders for the investigation. And Pam Bondi sworn in today as the country's attorney general, confirmed by the Senate in a 54-46 vote. She thanked President Trump.
I will restore integrity to the Justice Department, and I will fight violent crime throughout this country and throughout this world and make America safe again.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas administered the swearing in the Oval Office. Senator Mitch McConnell fell again. Fox News says it was on a small set of stairs as he was leaving the Senate chamber after the vote confirming Scott Turner as Housing and Urban Development Secretary. McConnell fell down, then was helped up by other senators. It is not known if McConnell was injured. And reaction to President Trump's suggestion that America take over Gaza and relocate millions of Palestinians continues to pour in.
Stopping short of endorsing the idea of a U.S. takeover of Gaza, House Speaker Mike Johnson praised the president for taking bold, decisive action.
Let's withhold judgment on all of it. You'll see more developments as they come.
The president, when asked whether he'd use U.S. troops to implement his vision, said he would do whatever is necessary. Florida Republican Congressman Byron Donald shrugs off the suggestion that means boots on the ground.
You guys are insinuating stuff that the president did not clearly say. Trust me.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Rain showers will continue through tonight and into our day tomorrow, so you'll want to keep the umbrella handy. We're back in the 70s tomorrow before a drop in the 50s, and we dry out for Friday.
Getting you through the lunch hour.
So, for those of you guys don't know, Al Green used to be a great singer. This is not that Al Green. This is a different Al Green. This is a crazy Al Green. This is a guy who is a Democratic nut job who has already today...
Sir, please don't be redundant.
Who's already today went on a rant And yes, kids, he's going to introduce articles of impeachment.
And I stand here today in the well to denounce what was said, to denounce what the president said, to denounce the complicity of the Prime Minister of Israel, and to remind people that Dr. King was right. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And injustice in Gaza is a threat to justice in the United States of America. I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done.
Okay.
So we're keeping the same playbook as 8 years ago? I'm just curious.
So I just want to go over this again. You can be impeached for dastardly deeds? Who was the cartoon that was Dastardly Deeds? Remember that? There was a cartoon.
It was I can't remember the name now, but it's like right on the tip of my tongue.
Dick Dastardly. But what was the cartoon he was in? Wasn't it the one where it was the Wacky Racers?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And I give it about 30 seconds max, and we'll have an answer on the text line.
I just want to make sure, because I was unaware that you could be impeached for dastardly deeds.
For dastardly deeds.
Whatever he used to do.
Muttley,
that's right. He had Muttley.
Wacky Racers.
Yeah. That is
Tony got it in first.
That is like you went on the floor and you said that. You're like, I'm going to impeach him for dastardly deeds.
Well, I mean, it's worked so well in the past. Why would you switch things up?
That's why Trump has to do the things he has to do and get over the finish line, because think about this. Do you think for a moment that if they win back the House and the Senate, they won't come after him again? You know they will. I mean, they're dastardly deeds. This is Wacky Racers.
That's something else I don't understand, though, is this man knows that any articles of impeachment have to go to the Senate for a trial. The Republicans control the Senate.
And the House. It's never getting out of the House.
But it's like, why are you this is performative. It's nothing but performative.
Remember when the Republicans were going to get rid of Obamacare? It was always performative. They passed 50 repeals of Obamacare that never made it to the floor of the Senate because they didn't control the Senate. So it died there because so much of politics is performative. And this time, it's Wacky Racers.
For dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done.
Man. And you too, Muttley.
Did he even give an example?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I know. It's the Adam Schiff School of Evidence. I saw it.
No,
I'm not going to tell you where it was.
This one is based on the fact that he's got Bibi there. And because of Bibi Netanyahu and genocide, that equals dastardly deeds. Now, let's not forget, Biden was in charge up until a little over, about not less than a month. It'll be a month tomorrow. So Biden supplied tons of weapons, tons of ammo, and he is definitely dastardly. I'm going to impeach you for, what's up, Doc? Whatever, there you go. That sums up the performativeness of politics. Speaking of Bibi Netanyahu, yesterday at the White House.
I believe, Mr. President, that your willingness to puncture conventional thinking that has failed time and time and time again, your willingness to think outside the box with fresh ideas will help us achieve all these goals.
I like the thinking outside the box. We need to do it. What has been done in the past isn't working. And that's the definition of insanity, right? You're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And what kind of result? Well, I'm getting the same result. Well, then it's not working. But you're dealing with a few things. First, you're dealing with land. You're dealing with land and a people who believe they have their rights. Hey, Americans, stop me if you've heard this one before. You're dealing with land and people who believe those lands belong to them. Oh, you've heard this one before? Okay. And they have said they are not going anywhere. But Trump is like, no, you're going to go somewhere because we're going to get you nice houses. We're going to find a place to put you that's going to be phenomenal, right? Like, which I'm still fascinated by the nice houses thing. And we're going to get some people to help out. Who's that? Egypt, Jordan, they're all about it.
I have a feeling that the king in Jordan and that the general president, but that the general in Egypt will open their hearts and will give us the kind of land that we need to get this done, and people can live in harmony and in peace.
Harmony and peace. It's never happening. This is we could put all of those, I say, both Bell and Ken at the same time. Or no. You could put both of them on the moon. They'll find a way to live next door to each other and fight.
Yep. Yeah. And he has to remember the Palestinians are not, they just don't want a homeland. They want the homeland that Israel is on.
They're like a child. Like my daughter, she won't play with a toy. And you're like, we're going to get rid of this. Oh, give it to me. No, it's mine. So they want that of which they don't have. That's what they want. They don't want the good stuff by the sea, which is what Trump wants, because it's going to be the Riviera. It's going to be fantastic. But you're talking about ideologies that go back thousands of years. You're talking about peoples that think that, no, I've got a map. No, I've got a map. No, I've got a map. But it says in this book. No, it says in that book. And when it talks about like Jordan and why would they take them? Jordan took them, and what they tried to do? Overthrow the king. Egypt, they've had enough of them. They tried that. We'll call those the Muslim Brotherhood. They don't want them either. There's a reason Egypt put up a giant wall. Because they don't want
Because
them.
they're racist.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's a given. But you know what? They are. They don't want the Palestinians. They don't want the Jordans don't want them, because they look at them and think, if you want to know the truth, here it goes. Sometimes I'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. They look at them as, we would look at somebody who is poor white trash. Like, oh, we should help them, but not really. They use them as an excuse to be angry with the Jews, or used to. They don't like that. You know what? Jordan wants to live next door to the Jews, and Saudi Arabia wants to get along, and Egypt does. You know why? Money, trading partners. They don't want the insanity that comes with Hamas. Maybe that's what the Palestinian people, but it comes with Hamas itself.
What were the countries involved in the Abraham Accords? I can't remember.
Wasn't that Saudi Arabia? Was it Bahrain? Was it UAE?
United Arab Emirates?
Yeah, was it one of those?
I can't remember,
Qatar?
but I mean, their whole concept of living with Israel means we're going to do trade and we're going to stop all the fighting. But the Palestinians don't want to stop fighting.
Well, the Hamas doesn't. And
well, the Palestinians voted these people in and have done nothing.
They voted them in a long time ago. They've just never had a chance to vote again. But this goes back to, this is on you. You guys, not only does the government of, America have to think about this different, and, we're thinking outside the box. It might be something that is very different, but we saw it coming here on the Chad Benson Show, and you guys can go back and listen to the tape when we were talking about Trump's totally going to do this long before he became the president as far as sworn in. On the other side of stuff, everybody out there needs to go, all right, we're going to all play our part. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, to a certain extent. It's going to be kind of hard because of the fracture there with, Hezbollah and everything. But you're all going to play the part that you have to play here, because this needs to get done, because you can't go on. People are tired. And the difference between this and what's happened in the 6-Day War and the other conflicts is the amount of people that died, the wiping out of so many people, the amount of deaths. That's a different world that they've seen before. And so, yes, something needs to be done. Now, is it us going over there? I'd like to think no. I mean, because the thought of us moving a few million people somewhere, they're not going to go, hey, guys, we got everybody a little house over here. Why don't you guys head on over there? That's not working that way.
Of this almost 2 million people in Gaza, they're likely not to go willingly. So they will have to be expelled by force, which would require military force. Pushing them into a country, 2 countries would have already completely said that is not going to be allowed.
And I know that I heard Byron Donalds earlier. Well, you guys are saying something that Trump didn't say. He said we're going to do everything we have to do, whatever that is. So if I don't know about you guys out there, but I don't want troops on the ground. I don't. It'd be one thing to if you want to get the UN involved, all right, if you want to have some support, but no actual military side of stuff, meaning we're delivering stuff as a humanitarian side, that's one thing. I don't want to nation build because nation build doesn't work. You cannot hand people freedom and democracy, as we were talking yesterday with Matt. They're not ready for it in some of these places. They're not. And so you've got to think, yes, outside the box, but you're trying to make a change that would be a bridge too far. And I've heard several people that are even supporters of Trump and the U.S. say this is racist, this is wrong. You're trying to essentially, move these people out of a place that they believe is their land and put up a casino or something. He didn't say casino or something. I mean, he intimated maybe that it's good land. It's nice place. I mean, he would never put up a casino or anything. Are you tired of the same old vacation spots? Are you ready for a getaway that's truly tremendous? Introducing the all-new Trump Gaza Casino and Resort. Nestled along the beautiful 25-mile coastline of the Mediterranean Sea, Gaza offers stunning water views and breathtaking sunsets. Experience luxury like never before in our world-class suites, where every room is the penthouse. Enjoy fine dining and exclusive restaurants featuring the best this side of the West Bank. Roll the dice in the state-of-the-art casino where the stakes are as high as our approval ratings. And don't worry about the neighbors. They helped us get from the river to the sea. So pack your bags and make your next vacation huge at Trump Gaza Casino and Resort. It's one vacation that won't be a bomb. Access to Gaza is currently restricted due to security concerns and travel advisories. Travel at your own risk. So he could do that. The new Riviera.
The disclaimer alone is its own bit.
Oh, my goodness me. We'll see how this thing plays itself out. I mean, I thought it was funny that he said that yesterday. Just like with Iran. We should talk about what he said about Iran. Because if you guys didn't hear yesterday, because of all the craziness.
He's putting the screws to him again.
Yeah. But with all the craziness going on, the people running around Doge, oh, my God, we're going to talk about that. But what he said about Iran and the what-if scenario, if they came after him, I thought was so spot on. And he was right about one thing that Biden should have said, that every one of our leaders should put out there. And not just our leaders of other powerhouses around the globe when it comes to the threats that come out there. And we'll talk about that. Hey, did you make it, Bell? I saw you throw your can over there. Did you make it?
I am 3 for 3 today.
3 for 3, man. That's what we're...
The Lakers are coming after me.
Oh, did you see him give his press conference yesterday?
No,
he's still in shock. Luka Doncic, he's all...
I got to sell my house.
I
just closed.
I thought it was a joke. I thought it was April Fool's, but not April Fool's. Now I'm here in Los Angeles. So there's that. I'm very happy to be here. No, you're not. And yes, conditioning was part of your problem. I saw you in warm-ups. Just put it out there. I'm no Peach, but I'm 54. You're 24. You're in the height of your career. I'm not an athlete anymore. Just putting that out there. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Raycon, best earbuds around. You will love your Raycons. I love mine. Wear them every single day. Now, they've got great headphones. They got gaming headphones. They got so many amazing things. And right now, Raycon is giving you 20% off everything. So for my earbuds, I've got active noise cancellation. I've got multi-connectivity. I got fast charging, fit, feel, comfort, second to none. And you can maneuver easily. You can go to isolation mode, to awareness mode, which allows you to hear a lot of things outside as well as what you're listening to on your earbuds. They are truly the best earbuds around. You can save big. You're going to get 20% off site-wide and a 30-day happiness guarantee, 8 hours of talk time, 32 hours of life, and check out the gaming headphones and everything else. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad now. Buyraycon.com/Chad to save big with Raycon.
Jewelry.com. Brentwood Jewelry. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years.
Get your retirement ready toolkit with Beacon. So, presidential elections just happened. Is there some uncertainty out there? Yes, globally, there is some uncertainty. Most of us are wondering what's going to happen. Money, investments, even retirement. You're not alone out there. You should talk to my friends over at Beacon Capital Management. They can walk you through what it is that they do with their retirement ready toolkit. You can sit down, shake hands with them. They're local. That's a great thing. You deserve to be confident. You want to know what's going to happen because you don't want to outlive. You don't want to have to go back to work one day. You want to know that you're set. With this, right, so you call them up at 615-488-9303. You're going to get several things. First, a Money Enough for Life book, which is great. A retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper. Doesn't cost you anything, no obligation, no pressure. Just an easy chat. They send it all out to you. Call Beacon today at 615-488-9303 to get your free retirement-ready toolkit. That's 615-488-9303, or find them online at askbeaconnow.com.
The CIA offering buyouts to the entire workforce. Details coming up at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I wonder what they're offering.
I don't know, man. I mean, what were the others offered? Like get paid through September?
You got paid through September. You got all of your, I think through the rest of the year, you got your health care.
Yeah.
And then you were on your own. Obviously, you would still get your retirement. Some people are like,
you keep your pension?
Yeah, you keep your pension and stuff. But for whatever it is you work. So if you didn't make your 20 or 30 years, your pension isn't going to be huge, but it's going to be something.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they're offering because they're offering a ton to people because they know there's not going to be that many. Maybe 2%, 4% if they're doing well. And I don't know how many of the CIA people are going to really bounce. But it makes news. It sounds good. Oh, my God, everybody hates him.
Yeah, apparently the CIA doesn't, they don't divulge their budgets or their numbers.
Wow. No.
Of staff.
We don't want that kind of transparency. Come on.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that they don't divulge their stuff and where they get their money? Come on. Of course they don't. Why would they? They don't have to. There's always those, like, whenever they're going through budgets and stuff, there's that weird, like, line item where it just says $700 billion. You have no idea what it's for.
Yeah.
And it's for DARPA, and it's for all this wacky research. You know, we can look through walls now, and we have bullets that we can control their mind or whatever they come up with.
Birds do like worms.
That's no, that's U.S. aid.
Yeah.
But this is, you know, the DARPA stuff that's where the excitement is. You know, that's where you're like, okay, you want to spend $700 billion there? All right. Because it's not about making war, but it's about making sure that should war be made, that we got lots of stuff. And, you know, it's my buddy Mike Lyons. He's been on with Dan a couple times. Mike always tells me, if you look at the conflicts, whether it is in Gaza or what happened with Ukraine, is we have stuff over there we're testing. And we go out and we test it. And then we pick our stuff up and we leave. And we give you all your old stuff. But we just want to see if it works, right? And that's what they were talking about the other day. They were testing stuff in Gaza in the battle. And they're over there testing it. Does it work? Okay, great, it works. All right, we're leaving now. They're not. It's because there's so much money in the military-industrial complex. And people don't understand that, how much actual money is in government. And that includes the buildup and cleanup. One of the things, you know, is Trump's talking about the Riviera. Who do you think's going to get those contracts? Tons of people. Right? They're going to get these big, fat contracts. Same people that are using weapons to blow up Ukraine and to fight for Ukraine, they're going to go up there and build Ukraine. Oh, yeah. Because it's all about the money. And the money is huge. When you think of it, we're talking about U.S. aid, which we'll get to in a minute, just mostly because people are insane watching them freak out over Elon. But when you're honest with yourself, $50 billion, that's a lot to us. But to them, it's chump change. If it fell on the floor, we wouldn't even be worth their time to pick it up. It's a political issue, but not a lot else. I mean, it's sad, but we've gotten to that point where you look around and you're like, how much money do we really have? Why are we so much in debt? Because we continue to print money. We continue to borrow money. And while we're doing all these things, we're putting our kids further and further in debt, and we're putting ourselves into a serious potential issue here with the amount of debt we're going to have continuing to grow unless we can figure out a way to refinance some of that and start buying some of that debt back, if you will. But there is so much money, and our economy allows us to do things like spend a $50 gazillion on a very tiny little throwaway agency. When you consider how much money we're throwing into things like, bombs, if you will, which is fine because I'm here to tell you, military-industrial complex, how you doing? You guys are doing a great job keeping us safe. That's what we want to tell you. Mm-hmm. Speaking of money, the Doge is causing people to lose their mind. We will talk about that. Plus, an egg-tastrophe at Waffle House. It's the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
.2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories tracking the potential for severe weather tonight. It looks like the window's going to be between 4 o'clock this afternoon, 10 o'clock tonight. Got the details during the full forecast in 5 minutes. And the CIA now offering buyouts to its entire workforce. A spokesperson said in a statement the move is meant to align the agency with new director John Ratcliffe. Fox News says Ratcliffe asked that the same deal offered to about 2 million other federal employees, that being paid through September with benefits, be offered to the CIA. Elsewhere in our nation's capital, here's Karen Travers.
President Trump this morning again said that everybody loves his proposal on the U.S. taking over Gaza. Turkey, Jordan, and Egypt have all come out against the idea. Jordan and Egypt also saying they will not take in displaced Palestinians. And the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia making it clear that unless there is an independent Palestinian state, there will be no normalization of relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia. That's a key issue President Trump is hoping to move forward on, something that was on his agenda Tuesday with the Israeli Prime Minister.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police have identified the person who was killed in that shooting after a robbery yesterday afternoon at Green Hills Mall. They say 30-year-old Emmanuel M. Easley of Nashville died. Police still asking that the shopper who was robbed to come forward to help piece together how Easley was shot before he crashed that Tesla into some trees off of I-65 and I-440. A passenger in the Tesla, 30-year-old Omari Moore, is charged for the robbery and unlawful gun possession by a convicted felon in connection to the robbery. Pam Bondi was sworn in today as the country's attorney general. She was confirmed by the Senate 54-46. Bondi thanked President Trump for the opportunity.
Thank you, President Trump. I've known you for many, many years, and I will not let you down. I am truly honored that you have asked me to take on this role, and I will make you proud, and I will make this country proud.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas administered the swearing in the Oval Office. And the U.S. military has landed a C-17 in India with about 100 illegal immigrants from India on board. A statement from India's Ministry of External Affairs says the country is, quote, firmly opposed to illegal immigration and will be cooperating with efforts to stem the flow. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Any thunderstorm could produce heavier downpours and gusty winds, but the overall severe threat remains low for the mid-state. Just keep an eye to the sky. Rain showers will continue through tonight and into our day tomorrow, so you'll want to keep the umbrella handy. We're back in the 70s tomorrow before dropping the 50s, and we dry out for Friday.
Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD. That is a place where you're going to go get supplements for your dogs and cats. And right now they're doing a 90-day challenge. It's one scoop on top of your dog or cat's food. And over the next 90 days, you're going to see an amazing change in your animals. So for my older dog, Doodle, we were going to put him to sleep. And within the next 90 days, once we started giving him Rough Greens, it was kind of like our Hail Mary. Everything changed. And he lived another 5.5 years, healthy and happy, and living his best little life. That'll happen with your dog. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. The first 30 days, you're going to see their coat get shinier, a little bit more energy. Then you're going to see no issues with their digestive tract and even more energy and less aches and pains. And by the 90-day mark, you're going to see a dog that is like having a new dog, like a tune-up and then some. Try a Jumpstart trial bag for free today. One scoop a day. That's all you need to do to give it to them. They're going to send it to you for free. It's a $20 value. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping. ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD. ruffgreens.com. Code CHAD. Some of you chiming in. Said, Chad, you said send the UN there? I said, everybody. Send everybody. Not our troops to the Middle East, all right? We've got enough issues. Not our troops. And I know they're trying to walk back the statement. Oh, it was kind of taken out of context. It was a threat. But I don't want our troops anywhere. We've got our troops already elsewhere in and around the region. We don't need our troops there. Come on, UN. Well, they helped. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Well, they can help undo it then. Right? How about that? We'll send the Brits and everybody else to go stand there and just stare at them and go, come on, clean it up. Your fault right here. You and your silly blue helmets. They could not break up a cookie fight at a Girl Scout convention. They are awful. They really are, the UN. But I'll take that over sending our troops anywhere at all. And like everything, the UN you guys are learning, it's a nasty thing across the board, politics. I saw this earlier today. This is our buddy Burchett here. Wasn't talking about aliens, but he comes out of like every vote and he just looks. This is what he said last night about the weasel rat thingy-mabobber.
The other one dealt with a thing called a nutria, and that is an invasive species. It's sort of like a beaver and a rat. We're going to spend $12 million a year continuing a program for 5 more years. We're going to spend $60 million on something that should be a state program. That's $60 million of your dollars, folks, and we are not going to eradicate anything. Anyway, I voted against it. It passed. $60 million. Anyway, thank y'all for sending me here. We'll keep fighting.
Keep fighting. Thank you, guys. Dadgummit. And he was asked, he was on News Nation, and, he was good. What happened? I thought everything was cleaning up. I thought we weren't doing these kind of things. Why did this pass?
Because we're lazy. We don't read the bills. Our leadership is lazy, and they pass this garbage on. It should have never even been on the floor. And of course, the old guard will tell you $60 million, Tim, that's nothing. This is a boondoggle. This is a continuation of another program. And we're trying to cut trillions, and yet we can't. We need to start paying attention to the small stuff, because I guarantee you somebody's wife and or girlfriend has a job in the nutria eradication camp. And this thing's been going on for years, and we just upped it another 5 years. The only thing America has ever eradicated is people. And that's the only thing we're really probably good at, as horrible as that sounds.
Truth. You're not getting rid of all those things because they produce like rats. You're not. They're an invasive species. They're here. Florida pays all that money for people to go hunt, giant pythons and iguanas. You're not doing anything. You're not getting rid of all of them. They're there.
You got like the Asian carp up in is it in Lake Erie or something?
Yeah, they get there and it's how fast they produce.
Yeah, you can't reverse it. You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
It's insane what happens. And sometimes it's good intentions, they think. Like I've seen where they've brought cane toads in to try to keep the sugar canes and stuff from being eaten by bugs. But then the other species that eat things like the cane toad eat it, then they die. And then all of a sudden the cane toads explode. So it's just it's a vicious circle, and you're not getting rid of the nutria.
See? Everything in Australia wants to kill you and anything else it can kill.
That's it. It's not even just about you. It's about everything and everybody. Speaking of killing you, this lady does not care about your feelings when it comes to eggs and has something to say to the world.
All the liberals keep talking about how much the eggs and gas cost. Let me explain something to you. I will pay $10 a egg to keep watching DJT take a blowtorch to this temple of thieves, pedos, and traitors, burn it to the ground, and piss on the ashes. You think I give a about how much eggs cost? But you keep talking about it.
Wow. Jeez, Mom, calm down.
Man,
she was upset.
She's a little emotional there.
She is. She doesn't care how much eggs cost. That's how she feels, right? That's it. That's how she feels. Good for you. Good for you. And I understand the thought of eggs going up because it's ridiculous. And in fact, it's gotten to the point now where we're starting to feel it here.
The egg shortage from millions of hens being slaughtered each month because of bird flu has led to a dramatic increase in its costs, says Waffle House. U.S. egg prices are more than double their cost in the summer of 2023. The average price per dozen eggs nationwide hit $4.15 in December. Not quite as high as 2 years ago, but the Agriculture Department predicts egg prices are going to soar another 20% this year.
There's a surcharge now, so if you go to Waffle House, it's a 50-cent surcharge per egg. 50-cent surcharge per egg. Be prepared for that. Speaking of being prepared, they will not stop fighting. They will not give up. The Democrats are here. They're going to fight as hard as they can to make sure that DOGE, to make sure that that is eliminated. They are going to crush everything in their path because that is who they are. That is what they are about. Because Elon, as we all know, is evil.
We know that the investment we make in foreign aid is not charity. Right? We know that extremism and danger breeds off of starvation and hopelessness and fear.
Ooh. Look, foreign aid, I get why it was originally set up. We had this, JFK had this idea of let's be this altruistic nation that gets out there and gets in front of people because it was a Cold War and we were battling to win the hearts and minds over people who, if given the opportunity, the Soviets would have won the hearts and minds. So that's why they did it. I get it. And us helping, I still have no problem with that. The insanity of some of this, yes. It's called soft power. Some of you are like, we need to get rid of it. Soft power is very important. Know that some of the things that are going on, especially in places like Africa, where all of the minerals, like the Democratic Republic of Congo, I don't know who runs it this week, might change its name tomorrow, they have the most minerals on the planet. It's not even close. So everything from your phone to the car battery to the electric car to all of this stuff, it's there, ready to be mined. The way that we use this as soft power is important. But the insanity of which these people run around because they got called out for lunacy and the American people said, we want no part of that, well, that was just hilarious.
Elon Musk is a Nazi nutball baby, a godless, lawless billionaire. Musk has grabbed control of America's payment system. This is the system that makes sure that your grandpa gets his Social Security check on time.
Take away our dollars, take away everything we have. We are going to fight this fight. I am going to stand with you in this fight.
We are not going to sit around while you go ahead and desecrate our Constitution.
And now he has the ability to shut off your Social Security, Medicare, any payments he wants with the flip of a switch.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your asses. And we are going to make sure you understand what democracy looks like. Elon Musk is seizing power from the American people. We are at war. We will not take this. We will fight back.
Well, good luck with the fighting back. You're not going to fix this. And constitutionally, I don't think Trump can eliminate it. I think they would have to go through, I don't know, Congress, which, as we all know, loves to not really do their job. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because I think what he can do and what Rubio is kind of talking about is we'll fold it back into the State Department, and all this nonsense that was out there, we'll just get rid of it and we'll move on with ourselves and on to something else, and we'll cut the stuff that most Americans are like, why are we doing that? But it's hard to convince America when we're talking about how much eggs cost and how expensive life is that we should be giving tons of money over here for this and tons of money over there for that. That is hard to convince people And that's why when they see 37,000 for a Peruvian transgender comic or 57,000 for a Colombian opera about transgenderism or whatever insanity that they were pushing out there, it's easy for Americans to go, no, I'm sorry, I'm not a part of that. I don't want anything to do with that. Oh, no, that's simple. But the soft power that has been used by this, as well as the potential coup situations that the CIA used it for, that's a real thing. We hold money over nations' heads, and it's not just U.S. aid, right? It's not. It's a lot of other things that we've done, and China does the same. China does it differently, though. They'll move in and they'll say, "Here's a bunch of money," and you and everybody out there is like, "That's great." Except for, remember, when they go to some of these nations and they start to move in, and we no longer have influence because we're not giving them money. We're not helping them when they need it. You're like, that sounds great. Except for when China starts to control these minerals, do we like how it is right now with them being able to control so much of the pharmaceutical world? We don't. Because we don't want to give that up. We want to be able to have that soft power because it stems the tide from them growing. But we ask them for stuff in return where China doesn't. China just hands them a bunch of money, says do whatever you want, and then eventually what ends up happening? They come and go, we need you guys to do something. And they'll do it. You can text the program. Love hearing from you. I like this one. I'm not quite sure what this says. Maybe Bell can help me. Well, liberal Chad Benson's head is spinning again, still playing checkers with his comrades. I don't know what this means. Trump is playing the Dems game against them. Threatening troops will bring others to the table that wouldn't usually listen. Okay. But now he's saying that wasn't any part of that. So was it a misunderstanding? And, you know, you've got Byron Donalds going, well, you guys, he didn't really say that. No, and I don't want troops there. Nobody does. And this is the guy who's preaching, you know. I mean, how thrilled would you be if we put troops there? I bet none of you would be thrilled. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think what's going to have to happen is what we've talked about, which is the rest of the Middle East is going to have to play their part. And we can put pressure on them in other ways. But they're going to have to play their part. And we will want to play a bit of it, too, because, you know, it could be the next Riviera. That's kind of what I heard. Coming up, Matt. I see him in the other room. He's going to be coming up. We'll talk to him about what's coming up on his show at 3 o'clock. Make sure you grab the podcast. And I have a feeling we'll post some of those parodies and stuff we did as well. We'll ask Bell to do that. It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. It's like the best thing ever, man. That's some great stuff out there. We're talking about owning parts of Gaza. I didn't really say it, mean it, say it.
What do you mean ownership? Like ownership?
It kind of felt like ownership.
I said ownership. Said we're going to own it. We're going to be there permanently. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be gorgeous. I'm sure it will be. I need to get to the Middle East. I mean that sincerely. I feel like I'm missing out. Am I missing out? Have you ever been?
Are you missing out? Well, it depends. Well, I mean.
What do you define as the Middle East?
Well, like, what is your, like, you could get.
I mean, I don't want to go to,
Part of the whole thing of going to part of these places is seeing some of these historical things throughout Israel and things of that nature. Bethlehem's in Palestine. I mean, if you want to go see some of those things, you can go to, if you want Middle East-ish without the Middle East, you go to Turkey.
I feel like going to the Middle East would be akin to going to Memphis. Graceland, fine. Peabody Hotel, all good. You veer off the reservation, you're going to get mugged, maybe killed.
Yeah, see, it's like, and I know people are going to go, Turkey's actually European, but it's kind of the Middle East-ish without being Middle East. So Egypt's in Africa. But if you want to go to Middle East, I would wait a little bit.
I was listening earlier, and you are so correct, though, that for those who don't know what places like Iraq and other parts of the Middle East were like in the 1960s and early 1970s, it will open your eyes to what religious fanaticism will do to a country.
100%.
Unabated and a religious fanaticism that no one has any ability to push back on.
Yeah, tyrant. They brought their theology, became theocrats, and they just destroyed. I mean, women. It was the place to be.
It's a beautiful culture.
When I was in England, some of my friends' parents. That used to be the place they went. They would talk about, going to Beirut for several days, and it's like Paris.
Mm-hmm.
All of the latest fashions were there. You went to it was, and then they ruined it.
Well, and an argument could be made, and I will talk about this in the 3 o'clock hour, that religious fanaticism has ruined the Gaza Strip, and to a lesser degree, West Bank. And I understand the premise of we have to start from scratch. In order to do that, we have to go get to the tunnels and get to all of that rudimentary infrastructure created by Hamas and eliminate all of that and build it up. And so you kind of started a zero-sum game there where you're not constantly playing from behind.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I wish that it had been a little more better expressed. I mean, you get the with the good that you get with Donald Trump, you sometimes get the kind of the off-the-cuff comments that freak people out and whatnot. And maybe that's intentional. I don't know. I mean,
I just think he says stuff at times because, and I was Steve Portnoy or somebody was saying, look, I've talked to him, and this is something he's thought about. He said that. I have thought about this, and I get the thinking outside the box because what you guys are doing isn't working. But how much, he's looking at it at times from a real estate development side. You and I are looking at it from I don't want a nation build side.
Well, that's exactly right. But how many times, if we engaged in that conversation, the idea being, how many times are we going to do it this one particular way and watch the exact same thing happen?
Exactly.
Where slowly but surely they build up the infrastructure and have the ability to strike back against Israel again. So, I appreciate doing it a different way. I just don't want to have troops over there, and I don't want to be responsible for building up that region of the world because that doesn't end well.
No, it never does. I mean, 20 years in Afghanistan, what do we got? Taliban's back in power. All that money, wasted lives of both Iraqi people and American lives and our allies in Iraq. And what do we have? We've got nothing to show for it. We created ISIS. Out of, there was a vacuum to be filled. They filled it. We can't, nation building the way that we've tried it in the past, it works for the arms dealers. It doesn't work for the human being.
Sure. So we'll talk about that some today. We'll talk about Camping World.
What's going on with Camping World?
So and I always forget his name. I have it over there somewhere.
Are you moving back to the ghetto?
No, the CEO of Camping World sent a message. So he, oh gosh, I forget his name. But Camping World's out here in Nash, at Briley Parkway, and they have 5 different locations in Tennessee, and they have one in Sevierville. And Sevierville, the city of Sevierville, sent a letter to Camping World. Lamonis is his name, CEO Lamonis, that their flagpole was too high. They have a 130-foot flagpole with a 40 by 80 United States of America's flag.
America.
Right there, America, outside of Camping World. And they have told him that, we already told you your flagpole was too big. Now you have to take it down.
That's what she said. And I'm not sure.
And Lamona's told him to go to hell.
As you should do.
And just go to hell.
You know what you tell them? You don't love America?
You don't love America?
I'm going to tell Donald, you don't love America, and you don't love a flag that's this big. You don't deserve to be part of America.
So we'll discuss that. We've got a call out to the CEO. Hopefully he'll call us. And we'll talk about this big signing ceremony at the White House today.
That's right. Finally, women are playing sports again, and they don't have to worry about guys taking their balls, which is always nice.
Is it true that high school soccer teams were beating the U.S. women's?
Yeah. Under 14 club teams beat the U.S. women's national team, who went on to win the World Cup, by the way. So just to put that out there.
Right.
He is Matt, straight ahead. I'm Chad. You guys have a good rest of your day. Super Talk 99.7.